Welcome back to the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. That is Jason, the chosen one, and I am Greg, a legend in my own mind. Jay, what's going on with you, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Kind of excited today.
You excited today, huh?
Yeah,
So,
man.
man,
Yeah.
let's see who we got off in the building, man. Anton Richardson, what's up? T Ward, my man in the building. Brian S, salute. Renaissance Dad, what's going on with you? Jason Williams, what's happening, man? We got 26 people in the building,
LT.
Jay. I want to go ahead and get
Georgia
started, man.
Peach.
I don't like going too tough with all that stuff.
Yeah.
First of all, man, we gotta give love to our sponsors, Rock Dog Interactive, bite-sized solutions for big ideas. Go check them out. Anything you need from graphic design all the way to if you're working within Bitcoin and you need some help for mining coins, they do it all. And then, of course, Black Father Figures, Black Fathers Matter. We got a cruise coming up later in the year. Jason, when you get the opportunity, maybe sometime later in the show, you'll get the opportunity to kind of tell them a little bit about the cruise that's going to happen in December. And I plan on having the League of Legacy also on the show to explain what Black Father Figures are, because I think it would be good for people to get the opportunity to hear from him.
Yeah.
So what else do we got? Jay, we thought long and hard about this, man. We actually put a poll up at one point in terms of whether or not we should create a join button. We decided to go ahead and create that join button. So now we do have a join button. It's $2.99 a month. It's really more so about for folks who want to the opportunity to help the channel. We've had so many people ask us, what's your Cash App? Why don't you have a join? So forth and so on. So we decided to go ahead and do it. And now it's up. So for whoever wants to join, please do. At some point, we will try to add an additional level that will create some let's call it specialized chat rooms and, the ability to vote on the pound for pound rankings, raffles for free merchandise, that kind of stuff. But we haven't gotten there yet. We'll figure out how to do that. We're still working through the details of all those things. I want to stress, though, that this is not a requirement. None of our content will ever be restricted. So the videos that you like, the fight breakdowns that you like, the documentaries that you like will be accessible to everyone. This is just mostly for the people who want to help the channel out, help us to expand and do some other things. A couple of other things. We did an interview with two-time heavyweight champion Tim Witherspoon. So be on the lookout for that. We'll probably break it down into sections because it's long. It's over like 40 minutes long. Very insightful, Jay. I felt like you and I learned some things that we had never known before. And it kind of highlights what's important and how the business of boxing can affect the outcome of fights and how fights get made and all of that. So Tim, incredible guy, man. Really nice dude. I really like Tim Witherspoon. And then finally, I started working on the next documentary. I don't know when I'm going to finish it. It is about Errol Spence. I've written out everything in regards to like the script for it. Now it's just a matter of just putting it all together, but it's going to take some time to do. So you guys be on the lookout for that. And any other documentaries, things you want us to cover in detail, please let us know. All right, Jay, man, that felt like that took way too long. Let's jump right into it, man. What is our first topic, bro?
First topic today. Let's see what we got today. What we got
Man, we
today.
got a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
We got it listed out here.
Well, we know that Boots' dad was talking about they think that Spence is gonna move up and vacate.
Yeah,
from
let's talk about that
go up
for
to
a second.
154.
Yeah, it's not just his dad either, man. It's also his
handlers, rather.
Promoter, manager, Cameron Duncan, who also believes that Errol Spence is going to move up and that Boots is going to become the IBF champion in June. I find that hard to believe, Jay. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, considering the fact that we know that Spence is more than likely going to fight in May or June. We've heard a date, but we don't want to speak on that since that was information that was kind of passed along to us. But way that they're going to prevent Errol Spence the opportunity to fight Terence Crawford, right? I mean, if he fights Keith Thurman and he's successful in this fight against Keith Thurman, then he's going to go and try to negotiate with Terence Crawford. There's no way that the IBF is going to strip Errol Spence if he's trying to negotiate a fight to become undisputed. So I'm not really tracking with the logic from Cameron Duncan. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, unless he has some type of inside info where he knows that Spence is like, he's going to be done with 150, 147, and he knows that Spence can't get a fight with Bud to be undisputed. That's the only thing I can think of, but I don't see that happening either. I see once Spence is done, when he fights Thurman, if Thurman's the next one out, because it's been those little silent rumors of Bud and Spence talking behind closed doors and stuff like that, which I don't believe. And whether it's May, June, or even April, probably be May, June, or July when they'll probably fight, since April is such a packed month with a whole bunch of boxing. I don't see Spence leaving 147. He fights Thurman, gets done with Thurman, comes back, runs it back with Bud. If he can't fight Bud, then he's out of there. He's out of there. So I mean, it could be some truth to it, but we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see once these fights get announced.
I don't see it in June. I mean, we already know Errol Spence probably won't even fight until May, June, right? So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe in July he might become IBF champion when Errol Spence. Yeah, but right now really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me at all.
Yeah, it's definitely early to be talking about. Yeah, he's gonna get it, and I'm like, honestly, I don't know if I would really be talking about it right now anyway, because that's not how you really want to get the title. Neither, you want to beat the man to be the man.
Man, Jay, I got to pause right here very quickly. Fannin International Boxing is in the building. Fanon, what's going on with you, man?
What up, though?
$20. I appreciate that, bro. Let's read what he said. Please keep color in the chat. What they do is a lot of work, and they are true and honest. No joke. Boxing need honest and open commentary. Just make sure some color chat somewhere near them. Appreciate that, bro. Really appreciate that, Fanon. Big time, man. Fanon is one of the godfathers of this space, and so salute to you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Definitely learn a lot from you.
Yeah, I don't know if people know this, but we've exchanged some emails with Fanon, and he's a stand-up dude, man. Appreciate you. All right, man. So yeah, I don't see Errol moving up to 154 pounds before he settles that thing with Terence Crawford. I just can't see it happening. Now, I want to transition from there, Jay, to a video we just dropped. Literally, what? I don't know, 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago,
30, 45 minutes ago, something like that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And that is so Oscar De La Hoya just he was on, what was it, Fight Hub TV? And the interviewer asked him specifically about Terence Crawford and whatever the developments were there, and asking for an update in regards to what's going on there. And so, when we saw the picture a few weeks ago with Terence Crawford, Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, the rumors started to swirl that maybe he was looking to sign with them. Because, I mean, it really didn't make a whole lot of sense for him to be there just for the purposes of negotiating a Rocha fight, right? It's not required.
Yeah.
So, so Oscar gave an update, and let me make sure that I say this right, because, if the Terence Crawford fans, they'll come into the comment section and say, "Oh, he didn't say that. He said this, and he said this, and he said that." So let's make it clear what was said. He gave Terence Crawford all the superlatives: a pound-for-pound fighter, a very smart man, which we know is not true, and all other superlatives that you would normally give to a fighter that you want to sign. Okay, but he also said that Terence Crawford needs representation. Now, Jay, this is something that we have been saying for a hot minute. because you do not, Jay, you are college educated. I am college educated. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in the chat that are college educated. And even if you're not college educated, there's a lot of people who are just incredibly intelligent, period. And they
Facts.
wouldn't venture into a space that they are unfamiliar with, especially when you start talking about operating at the highest level of any sport, business, or whatever. So it never made any sense that he went to the negotiations by himself. He said in his live stream that he had, his Instagram live, that he was in there by himself and, you know, he feels like this and nobody was on his side and he was against all odds and all this other shit. When that was the path he chose. He chose that path, bro. So the issue is he needs somebody, he needs some representation. He was never a boss, like I told everybody. Bosses cut checks. They don't ask for them. Jay, I want to pass it to you very quickly, man. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, basically that interview just pretty much sums up everything that we've said, sums up a lot of things some other people have said as well. You know, shout out to Manager Marty. He did a good video on this as well, talking about it.
Yep.
He even talked about it on our show last week. We talked about this, how he needs representation. And Oscar De La Hoya basically says he needs to have representation. Now, we also know Oscar wants to sign him, of course, so Oscar's going to push that envelope as well. But the fact that he's saying he needs the representation is key, because you can have have expertise in multiple areas, but something's going to suffer sooner or later, especially in boxing. You know, going to the negotiation table, have everything that you're doing there. Not saying that you shouldn't be there. You definitely should be there so you have some insight. But to be the one to be calling all the shots, even Floyd Mayweather, he always talks about his team, not just him, his team. He has Al, he has Leonard. Those two guys are doing all the business aspect for him. So you got to have someone you trust. I don't know how much blood's been burned in the past before, which is why he's probably trying to do everything on his own, but he just wants to have a lawyer. No, you want to have someone else to help represent you, but someone that you can trust, someone that's all they do.
Dude, I remember when we talked about this, and there were people in the comment section literally upset with me talking about, well, he has a lawyer. All he needs is his lawyer. And I'm like, dude, that's stupid. Like, you know, everybody probably knows now I work in accounting and finance. And you wouldn't take your accountant to the negotiation table when you're buying a company. That's not the only representation you need. It doesn't matter if I can go through, look at your ledger, look at your business, look at your tax returns, determine whether or not the cash flow that you're presenting actually makes sense. That doesn't matter. You still need someone else to come in there who understands all the nuances associated with that business, understand all the nuances associated with the negotiations. So it's incredible to me that people actually made those comments. I cannot wrap my mind around this, Jay. Why is it so freaking hard to understand?
It's crazy to me. It's just, it's ridiculous. I mean, Tank is working on his own promotional company and everything, but he still has Al in his corner. He still has Leonard in his corner. You know what I'm saying? Now, someone on here talking about, well, he was with Top Rank. People said to leave them. Top Rank, we said leave. We didn't say leave Top Rank and just be by yourself. We said get someone that's tried and true that you can trust. Top Rank, we saw what they were doing beforehand. They had a history of stuff like that. Oscar De La Hoya actually also has a history of the same shit as well. Yeah, so I mean, but that's who Bud aligned himself with. Bud re-signed with Top Rank. He didn't go elsewhere. He re-signed with them. So I mean, that's on Bud, man. But he definitely needs to get representation out there, because it's not gonna be too much longer for him anyway. He's towards the end of his career. You know, he had already said before that he didn't plan on boxing until this time at this day and age. But here we are. He probably has maybe 1 or 2 more years of boxing left anyway. So we'll see.
It depends on the fighter he gets in the ring with. He gets in the ring with the wrong fighter. Maybe he only has 1 more fight left. It all depends. All right, man. So we got 94 people in the building, 37 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit the like button. Or if you don't like the content, hit the dislike button. But always make sure that you're engaging with the content when you come in the door. And if you're new to the channel, there's a little icon in the bottom right-hand corner. It's the subscribe button. hit the subscribe button. Jason and I are always dropping content, whether it's video clips, live streams, documentaries, fight breakdowns. We do it all here. So check it out. Come on over to the channel. And then while you're at it, please go and subscribe to the Mike Check Podcast and the Boxing Source. Manager Marty, as well as who else? Showboating. Showboating. Make sure you go and check those fellas out, man. They got great content over there as well. All right, bro. So enough about Terence Crawford. I'm sorry.
Yeah, real quick, salute the LT. Appreciate the $5, sir.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely
absolutely. Thank you, LT. Appreciate that. Man, let's talk a little bit, Jay, real quick about Adrien Broner, man. And the fight was canceled here in Atlanta. Well, so I mean, I guess I can't talk because I'm not necessarily in Atlanta, but the fight was like right outside of Atlanta in College Park, where the WBA, I think it's the Atlanta Dream, I think is what they're called.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that fight, we did a video last week. I think we titled it Cursed. That fight was absolutely cursed. It should have never been made. I think BLK Prime is cursed, as a matter of fact. But let's see. So they had Ivan Redcash. Then it was who was it after that? Hank Lundy. And then it was Michael Williams Jr. And now he has a broken jaw. So it's interesting. I don't know where AB goes from here. I like AB. I think AB is trying to change his life. I really do. I saw a video from him talking about, you know, he had kind of sunk into depression and you know, drinking wasn't going to solve anything. But then he started going down kind of that AB path where he was saying, fuck everybody, fuck you. And, and you know who you are and don't call my phone and all this other stuff. So I don't know where he goes from here. So that's the first thing I want to talk about, Jay. I want to pass to you. But the second thing, man, I want to talk about that's kind of tied to this is Michael Williams Jr., what happened to him. And also Roy Jones, man, because, man, I like Roy. Roy's one of my top 3 fighters of all time. But as a trainer, boy, I don't know, bro. So what are your thoughts, man? What do you think Adrien Broner goes for here?
I mean, supposedly I read something that he's probably going to be fighting in April. The opponent is still to be determined, of course. We don't know anything about who he may or may not fight, if it's going to be in April or not. Plus, April has a lot of fights going on already. So I feel bad for AB. You know, he seemed like he was turning his life around for real this time. He was focused. I mean, we did a couple of videos on him where he was at when we first saw him on his weight. And he was like, the next time we saw him, he saw his progression. You know, he was good over probably like 200 early on. Then he got dropped down. So I'm hoping he gets something comes up. But I don't think it would be too much just because, especially if he's dealing with BLK Prime. Plus, he has to get 3 fights in this year. You know, if he fights in April, that's April. He'll have to have another fight by what, August, September. Then he'll have to fight one more time in December to get his money, supposedly. You know, for him, part of that 3 fights in 1 year. So we'll see what happens with AB on that. Now, to go about Roy Jones Jr., who's one of my favorite fighters of all time as well. It's interesting to me because, you know, people talking about he shouldn't have had Michael Williams Jr. sparring so soon to the fight, which could probably be true, you know, but he wasn't the one that took that shot. From what I read, and I actually listened to Michael Williams Sr. that was talking about it, he was talking about how Roy tried to pull Michael Williams Jr. out of the fight early on in the week. Yeah. Because he wasn't happy with Michael Williams Jr. defense. He said he was getting hit with a lot of unnecessary shots. So the father asked him, like, so what about the offense? Roy's like, the offense has been sharp. The father's like, well, I don't see, basically the father's like, I don't see the problem. Why should we pull out? Well, defense is kind of key in boxing. You don't keep getting shots hit in the head. So if he got his jaw broken sparring, that means he wasn't ready for AB. You know what I'm saying? I understand they're trying to get that money and everything, but your defense has to be key against any fighter, you know, not just for wins and losses, but also for the longevity of your career and your life. You know, if he's getting hit with unnecessary shots, it's not good. Not good at all. So, I mean, I'm waiting to see more from Roy's point of view as well, you know, just because him saying that the offense was good, he really didn't see a problem. That's concerning. You know, you can't go out there all gas, no brakes. You're going to crash sooner or later.
So I'm going to 100% disagree with you. And here's why. I recall This was around 2004. There was a coach named Alton Murchison. Do you remember that name, Jay?
Yeah, that was Roy Shaner.
Exactly. And he did an interview, and he said, Roy is getting hit with more shots than I've ever seen him get hit with in sparring. He did that right before the second Antonio Tarver fight. He said that. And subsequently, Roy went to the ring and got knocked out. And after that, he got knocked out again. Did Murchison take away Roy's ability to go into a fight? No, he didn't. So why is Roy trying to take away this young man's opportunity to go into and make some money?
The difference is this, though, Greg. Roy actually had more power than Murch. Because Roy was the main person. He has a bigger name. He's the person. So you prefer him but you prefer Roy to do the same thing Murch did and let him go out there and get knocked out?
Yes. Roy wasn't the same. That kid, this is this kid's only shot, bro. This is this kid's only shot. He goes in there, man. Bruh. Maybe he gets lucky. It's not like, Jay, you have said on multiple occasions that AB does not throw his hands enough. So why the fuck would we believe that AB is going to actually damage this kid? He doesn't throw enough punches to damage him.
If he's getting hit with unnecessary shot, all it takes is one punch, man. We're talking about one payday or this kid's career, this kid's life. You know what I'm saying? You don't play boxing. That's why I'm saying that I don't know how well it was, how bad it was in there, but for this kid to get his jaw broke in sparring, I mean, I don't know if the people he was sparring with at the same level as AB, even with AB being out of the ring for almost 2 years. You know, it's still you getting touched up like that in sparring. That's a problem, bro. I wouldn't sign off because that's also that's going to make Roy look bad as well. I mean, this doesn't make Roy look good neither with the kid getting his jaw broke, but it would have looked worse as well, just as bad as if he got in the ring with AB and got dropped in the first round and got broke.
Man, we always knew this kid was a mismatch. This is not new fucking news. Like, this is not new news. We knew this kid was always a mismatch against AB. This is this kid's opportunity to do something to make the money, to get a paycheck that he'll never probably get ever again, or to get lucky and land something against AB. Again, AB does not throw his hands like that. So is he really going to take that kind of damage? And even if he does, I mean, hell, so think about it now, Jay. Motherfucker got his goddamn jaw broke for free. I would have rather got my damn jaw broke for $200,000-$300,000 or whatever he was going to get paid. So which was the better decision?
So he gets his jaw broken sparring, or he could possibly had something worse happen to him. And it wasn't a heavyweight. It was his dad actually confirmed it wasn't a heavyweight that he was sparring in training. The guy was probably middleweight or something of that nature there, but it wasn't a heavyweight. But either way,
so he was a middleweight.
This dude was getting. I don't know what he was. I know he wasn't a heavyweight, but still though, he's getting pieced. He's getting. Did you see Michael Williams Jr. get knocked out?
When?
I want to say 2-3 fights ago. His loss, he got knocked out. He got stretched.
Okay, that's a part of the sport.
He got stretched.
That's a part of the sport.
Yeah, but it should be happening in sparring.
He wasn't getting knocked out in sparring. He was getting hit. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys get hit in sparring.
He was getting hit more than he wasn't just getting hit. He was getting cracked for your jaw to get broken in several places. It wasn't just getting touched. You know what I'm saying? So
I would have rather got my jaw broken in the ring where I made $175,000. Now this man that got his jaw broken in sparring, now he going home broke. Which one was the better decision? A guy that was at middleweight throwing shots versus a guy that really even shouldn't be at 147 pounds. Which one would you want? I would rather have my guy in there taking shots from a guy that's 140 pounds and getting $200,000-$300,000 versus in there taking shots from a middleweight, making zero and getting his shit all broken up. I agree with his father. I'm sorry. That was some bullshit.
So you agree with his father that's saying that, okay, my son's defense sucks, but his offense is good, that he should go ahead and get in the ring. You agree with that?
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of people who defense is ass, and they in the ring. I mean, Antonio Margarito, his defense was his goddamn face. He was in the ring. It's not like so Michael Williams Jr. will be the first fighter ever in the ring with no goddamn defense. Come on, bruh. Fuck no. Put that man in the ring.
Put him in the ring, nigga. So
That's bullshit. That's bullshit for him. I'm not saying if he dies, he dies. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Right? Greg don't care about nobody. Just give him the cash.
That's bullshit. I care about bruh, I care about that man's opportunity, bro, to make money. That man he's in the sport to make money, period.
Greg, come on, man. This kid getting touched up in sparring. And it had to be, Greg, think about it. We're going to have a poll on this. For Roy to all of a sudden say he want to pull this kid out because this kid is getting touched up in sparring, it wasn't just one. It's just one time. This had to be multiple occasions.
So let me ask you this. Multiple occasions. Let me ask you a question. Roy got his ass knocked out by Tarver. Then he got his ass knocked out by Glenn Johnson. He got beat the fuck up by what was the English dude name? Calzaghe, right? He got beat up by what's his face? Bernard Hopkins. And a lot of people were screaming for Roy to stop, and nobody stopped him. So why are you stopping this man, bro? You cannot stop. I do not agree with taking away the opportunity. I don't agree with taking away the opportunity for anybody to make money, dog. Fuck that.
No, he didn't, Greg. The thing is, you say you mad at Roy for saying this when he's damaged, bro. Roy is damaged.
Man, Roy can talk. Roy can talk. What you talking about? He damaged. Roy can talk. What you mean he damaged?
You see, Roy. The knockouts that Roy sustained. He should have quit. He should have been out of boxing a long time ago, early on.
Actually, Roy received the knockouts that you want to get. The knockouts where you get knocked clean the fuck out. That's the best one.
Not over and over again.
It's better than just keep getting pounded on. One clean shot.
You keep, bruh.
I mean, I can't agree with you on this one, dog. I do not agree with taking away anybody's ability to earn a paycheck, bro. It's not your place to take away anybody's ability to earn a paycheck. Period. Now, if you were putting that man up in the ring with like a fucking heavyweight or something like that, and you know he's gonna get fucked up, then I get it. But I don't believe in taking away anybody's ability to make money, dog. I don't believe in that at all.
But Greg, think about it. Roy didn't take this away. Michael Williams Jr. took it away by taking them damn shots and sparring and getting his jaw broke. That's his fault. Because he couldn't block.
So okay, well, it's Roy's fault for not teaching the man defense. Why the fuck he didn't do some defensive drills and teach that man some damn defense? You pissing me off, Jason. It's Roy's fault. He should have been the one. That's his goddamn fault. If that man is sitting up in there taking shots, that means Roy ain't fucking doing what he's supposed to do as a trainer.
That's not true. That's not true. If I tell you to duck and your ass, if I teach you how to duck or to roll, the slip, the back up, and you don't do none of that, and that's on me? No, that's on you.
He got the wrong goddamn trainer in there. Roy don't know nothing about no fucking defense, man. Roy defense was his speed. He had the wrong trainer to begin with. That's Michael Williams Jr.'s fault. And then Roy should take an own responsibility for the fact that he don't know what the fuck he's doing from a defensive perspective. And the fighter was doing exactly what he taught him, which was be all offense and no fucking defense.
That's what his dad said. That's probably what from his dad, man. Now, remember, Roy came in there, I believe Roy came part of camp early part of February or late January in that. So that's not Roy's fault. This cat is getting hit in sparring. Because remember, Roy just had Chris Eubanks in there. And I'm not saying Roy's a great trainer at all. Y'all because I don't believe he's a great trainer. But in this sense here, because this kid's getting pieced up in sparring, Roy like, yo, not yet. I understand this is a great opportunity, but not yet. Because I want your longevity for your career.
Man,
But you can't blame Roy for this kid getting his jaw broke now because the kid got no defense.
It's his fault. Your trainer is the one that's supposed to teach you the defense, bro. What you talking about? The trainer is supposed to be the one that's teaching them the defense. So it ain't Roy's fault.
Greg.
Okay, hold on, Jay. Let me ask you a question. You're a Miami Hurricane fan. Now, every time I fucking turn around, you talking about your offensive coordinator and how shit he is. Hey, listen, if the goddamn QB can't throw a damn a back shoulder pass and you the fucking QB coach, is it the QB fault? Because every time I turn around, motherfucker, you blaming the coaches. So whose fault is it?
No, bro. Don't try me like that. You know that's not the truth.
No, that is true.
Full of shit.
That is
You're
what?
Full of shit now.
You just said Gaddis was dog shit, even though he won the Broyles Award last year. What are you talking about? See, now you're trying to be slick. One minute you blaming the fighter, the next minute you want to blame the coach. Which is
a team sport versus
no, fuck that. It's still the coach. The coach is the issue.
Don't try that shit, man. Stop it.
Oh my God, boy. You got to be fucking kidding me,
Stop
dude.
it.
Hey, man.
You just want to see people die. You just want to see people get killed in the ring and beat up and just knocked out.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
no, I don't.
You don't care about that man.
No, I don't. No,
you don't
I
care
care about every
life.
fighter's health that goes into the ring. I also know that a lot of these guys come from humble beginnings, and this is their opportunity to make and put their families in a better position. So I'm thinking about myself in that position. If I only had one or two paths to make that kind of money, you're talking about, I think the kid was promised $200,000, $300,000, whatever it was. That kid probably doesn't have any other path or vehicle to make that kind of money. So that money can be life-changing to anybody. So yes, I believe that you allow that man to make that money. Absolutely.
So after Russ said I want to pull him out, then you say no. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna go on.
You know what he should? This was Michael Williams' fault. I would have said, "Fuck that, Roy," and walk the fuck up out of there. Now, the part that the dad's issue,
if he dies, he dies.
The dad should have been there. The dad should have been. Man, why y'all keep talking about this man dying, man? What the fuck? Nobody's saying that, bro. So you think AB got enough power to kill somebody in the ring?
Bruh, all it is the right shot. You don't have to be Tank Davis and kill somebody in the ring or something.
But Jason, everybody's taking that risk, dog.
You know that.
I mean, you can have Jason. You can have great defense, and one of them get through, and it's the right shot. Everybody takes that risk.
I feel better if someone had some type of defense and not going there just like whack them, sock them.
Hey man,
did you see this kid get stretched on the last fight, Greg? Did you see him get stretched his last fight?
The dude with no defense can't be telling the other kid with no defense that he can't get in the ring. I ain't trying to hear that shit, dog.
Yeah, he can because he knows about not having defense, Greg. You proved my point. He knows about not having defense. He relied on his athleticism more than anything else than defense.
And he still got his chance to make the money, right? Give that man a chance to make the money.
That's before no one knew he had no defense. Before he got chin checked.
Man, fuck that. I want to change topics. Hey, we're gonna put a poll in the community on this one because I don't agree with this shit at all. I don't agree with this shit at all. You give that man the opportunity to make that money. Period. That's how I see it. All right, Jay. We got 146 people in the building, 68 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit the like button, or if you don't like the content, hit the dislike button, but make sure that you engage with the content. Also, right down there in the lower right-hand corner, there's a subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber to the channel. Jason and I are always dropping content on a regular basis, video clips, live streams, documentary, fight breakdowns. We do it all here. Check us out. Also, when you get the opportunity, please go subscribe to the Mike Check Podcast, The Boxing Source, Fanon International. Who else we got? That we Manager Marty and Showboating, man. Those are our guys, man. We mess with them heavy. All right, Jay. What's the point? Well, Jason Williams. Most of it's going to the hospital, but right now he ain't got no money to pay for the hospital bill. So he in the same situation. At least I would have a net amount after I go to the hospital. So it is what it is.
Great. But think about this. Let's put it like this. In a sense,
oh, you still on this shit?
I see some of your point though. I'm not saying you're 100% wrong on that. I see it as being a fault of multiple assets. So it's definitely on Michael Williams Jr. for not having good defense. Number one, definitely on Roy for having to spar 9 days out from a main fight. You know, but if your concern is the defense, then don't have him do it. And if this kid got a broken jaw with headgear on, it's something. It's more to it than that. And again, I'm not saying Roy's a good trainer because I watched Eubanks the last 2 fights, and Eubanks is trying to be like Roy without his athleticism, and that's not going to last. Roy is a one of a kind, was a freak in the ring until age caught up with him.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm actually hot right now, so me and you, I'm hot.
I know
Totally
you
get
hot. You gonna
over
throw
that
about
shit.
talking about my hurricanes and shit. Man, FSU ain't shit neither. So what's next on the docket, man?
Man, fuck
What
your
next we gonna go
Hurricanes.
to?
Uh, so man, we know right now, Jay. Oscar De La Hoya. We're gonna go back to Oscar. So Oscar is saying that at the end of the day, the contract is now finalized, bro, and it's over in the PBC court, according to Oscar De La Hoya. So I want to pass it to you very quickly. Do you think that that's true? You think this fight is finalized, that it's over in the PBC's court, and that it's just a matter of them signing off on it and announcing it? What are your thoughts on that? And he didn't really explain what the rematch clause was. I mean, he was very political about
Vague.
how he explained that. So Jay, I
Yeah.
know you actually had some thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I don't Mario.
Jeff, hey Mar, I appreciate the $5
Oh,
for
damn it.
Jason. Thank you for saving
Damn it,
lives.
man. Hey, I'm
That
here
was a
for the
good one.
people, man. I'm here for the people, you know. But I hate the fact that it's been put out there, for Mike Cap put out there said everything's finalized and everything. Oscar literally said, the ball's in PBC court now. It's on their side. It's just really up to the fighters to announce everything. We do know that, some things in the background, Showtime typically try to put everything out at one time. So that could be holding things up. So, I mean, I think it might be signed, but it's nothing official. So I'm not going to believe anything until it's actual official. We're talking about Ryan Garcia here. We know what he does. He's the pullout king. He's the opposite of Nick Cannon. So, I mean, he constantly has some excuse for not fighting. So I believe it once they actually put it out. I'm scared about the fact that it's 7 weeks away.
Yeah.
Until April 15th, which is the rumored date they're going to have. I'm scared. That's concerned because typically they want it 8 or 9 weeks or longer so they do the campaign, the marketing and whatnot. So we'll see how they do it. It's still gonna be a big fight regardless if they have 7 weeks to do it. But I think it has to be announced this week for it to be an April 15th fight.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna get announced right after all that stuff was settled with Tank, and I'm surprised that it hasn't been announced. And I thought all of those fights, in regards to like PBC fights, will all be announced in tandem, right? Kind of together, because I think their philosophy has been you kind of announce them in sequence, right, or in chronological order in terms of when they're gonna actually fight. So you wouldn't announce a fight that's gonna happen in June before a fight that's gonna happen in April. So I'm surprised that they still haven't announced it yet. Maybe there's still something that they're waiting on. I know Ryan Garcia mentioned that he's already started the VADA testing for, was it VADA test? I think it's VADA, right?
Yeah.
I think it was VADA. But he already started testing. So it seems like the fight is moving forward. I know a lot of people still, feel like there's a possibility that this fight won't happen. In my opinion, I just look at it like this. At the end of the day, this fight is probably as close to being made as it possibly can be. So I don't know, man. I want to say that the fight is going to happen. I want to say that I feel confident that the fight is going to happen, but I don't know. I'm still not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'm not gonna believe it till it's actually I see the press conference. Even then, I'm not gonna believe it till April 15th this year, and both of them are actually in the ring and the bell sounds. That's how it is with when you're dealing with Ryan, and they're in Oscar at times. It's just nah. I'm hoping it was. I know Tank really wants to fight and everything, of course. I don't think Ryan's scared of anything. It's just his back, just his past. What he's been doing. Can't get over that.
Yeah. We'll see, man. We'll see what ends up happening in regards to that. Jay, we about almost 45 minutes in, and I want to make sure that we cover everything before we open up the phone lines. DAZN, my friend, has recently announced a 125% increase. That is substantial, Jay. DAZN has never. So first of all, we know that DAZN over the last 5 or 6 years has lost $6 billion. We know that is in part to in part due to the fact that they have gotten into soccer over there, and it's streaming rights and stuff like that, and streaming rights can be very expensive. So that's part of the reason why they're losing so much money. I would struggle to believe that the boxing portion of their business is profitable, just considering the fact that they don't put on great fights. So now, what does that mean for DAZN in boxing? I mean, they've been doing well with the women's boxing, but I don't know, man. I struggle to believe that boxing fans are going to continue to pay that amount for DAZN, knowing that the fights that they get from a DAZN perspective are not all that great. What are your thoughts on that, bro?
Well, one thing also I read that that not only they're raising that, but you're still gonna have to pay extra for that fight. So the
Really?
subscription, yeah, that's what I was reading something a couple while ago. Some people mentioned it that like although they're going up in pricing, let's say the Canelo fight, you still got to pay extra for that Canelo fight. So it's not like this subscription gets those fights automatically, So I mean, they don't have anything outside of the women's boxing. They have is fire though. I give them credit on that. That's absolutely on top. That's top notch.
Gardner.
Now the other fights kind of mostly lackluster for me for the most part. I'm not really a fan of a lot of their stuff. They have the Ortiz and Stanionis fight coming up in April, which is good. But for the most part, it's nothing high level that I'm really like geeked out of. So that pricing like that, they're trying to make up for it for the lost revenue, I believe, to go up that much.
Oh, they gotta be. They're trying to make up for the lost revenue that they had. And oh boy, it's substantial. When you're talking about a company that's, and you got to think about it too, man, just abroad across when you look at direct to consumer, right, relative to any streaming platform right now. So you're looking at your Paramounts, your HBOs, your Netflix, your Hulu. Everybody's taking a bath, man. I've looked at some of the financial statements, and all these guys are not as profitable as they would like to be in those divisions. Right now, I would call it a streaming war, if you will. So it's rough right now in the streets, man. It's going to be interesting to see who actually, is left standing after all of this is said and done. So I'm curious to see what they end up doing in order to try to offset this. I mean, clearly they're going to raise prices, but they're also going to have to do, and maybe, again, they're doing a lot of soccer over there. It's hard for me to really, soccer doesn't resonate with me. So I don't know, if people are going to be willing to pay the price because of the soccer that they're going to be getting from DAZN. I have no idea. But it seems like anyone taking that kind of significant hike, regardless, it just feels like people are going to be resistant to that.
Yeah. You gotta make the product be worth that increase like that. And so far, it's just not worth that increase, in my opinion, on that. Just
Totally agree. Google wants guarantee means okay. All right. Let's switch to the next topic, bro. I want to talk a little bit about Lou Dibella and some of the comments that he made about Tank Davis. Basically saying that Tank is not a superstar, that he's on TMZ more than anything else. But he did give him some props by saying that Tank he does have some level of crossover appeal, if you will. So I've said for a long time, Jay, that people talk about the Terence Crawford and the Errol Spence fight, and that it's the biggest fight in boxing. And it is. There's no doubt about it. It's the biggest fight in boxing. But by and large, the general public do not know who those two individuals are. Now, more people know who Errol Spence is just due to the fact that Texas is a huge state within the United States. But if Dibella is baselining against what we saw from fighters of the past, your Floyd Mayweathers, your Oscar De La Hoyas, your Mike Tysons, those guys who generated really, really big bucks, and they crossed over not only within boxing, but they crossed over across the broader kind of generation, whatever you want to call it, right? But if he's baseline against that, yes, I agree. He's right. He's not that level of superstar. But for today's times, yeah, he's a huge pay-per-view star because no one is selling pay-per-views to that extent, right? So if you sell 400, you remember back in the day, 300,000 pay-per-views sucked. To sell 300 today is pretty good. Floyd would have been disappointed with 500, 600, 700, but that's what Canelo is doing today. So, I mean, relative to what you're baselining it against, he's a star. Now, is there things that he can do to make himself more accessible? Absolutely. But it looks like somebody's already trying to call us in, man. Let me. Sorry, we're not taking calls right now, my friend. Give us a
Not
minute.
yet.
Not yet. But um, I lost my train of thought there. But basically, at the end of the day, Tank is a superstar when you compare him to today's talent pool. And what I was saying was, can he do some things to make himself a little bit more accessible? Yes. Can he do some things to increase his crossover appeal? Yes. But he's still a star. So I want to pass it to you,
Yeah.
Jay. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I see Tank as this era's version of kind of like Mike Tyson, the way he has that appeal. His mannerisms are very similar to Mike. Um, Even the stuff that happens outside of the ring, similar to that as well. I like Tank a lot, and I see what Lou said, based on, past things, depending on who you're measuring him against. If he's a superstar now. If you measure against his peers right now, he's top 3. So that, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a superstar. Now, if you measure against Floyd, no. Hell, no one is, The stardom that, Mike Tyson had when Mike Tyson blew up back then, no, things were different back then. So we have to gauge him on today's standards. So by today's standards, I would say Tank's a star because he's top 3, top 5 easily, right now in the sport of boxing right now.
So Jason Williams actually just went to a place that I was going to go, Jay, because you made the comment that he's like Mike Tyson to you. I think you need to be more clear on what you mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the way he is, his mannerisms, the type of fighter he is, he's knocking people out. He's creating a drama in the ring that we want to see, and that's what Tyson was doing. Yeah, Tyson was known globally. He's not to Tyson's level. I'm not saying he's on Tyson's level, but he's like their version of Tyson right now because there's no one else like that right now for them in this era right now that's doing like Tyson was doing.
Yeah.
Tank is trying
Yeah,
to get there.
I
Globally,
think what
that's a reach.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Jay, is that he didn't necessarily capture the audience or capture the minds of people like Mike Tyson did. Even when Mike got in trouble, man, I mean, it just captivated people, man. People were drawn to Mike Tyson, whether it was good, bad, it didn't matter. People were drawn to Tyson. And Tank doesn't have that level of appeal. Even, whether it's positive or negative, he doesn't get that same level of appeal. So I think you're basically saying in terms of like fighting style, being explosive, having some challenges maybe outside of the ring. That's how you're comparing him to Mike, but not necessarily how Mike just how Mike was just a superstar in the sport. I mean, you had 3 Mikes back in the 90s. Jordan, Jackson, Tyson, and everybody knew them regardless, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm saying that as far as this era, the way it is now, the way people are coming to Tank's fights, Tank is selling out fights. He's having the stars coming to his fights. He's not on the global stage. No, not at all. But as far as like his mannerisms reminds me of Mike, the way he's quiet. He's kind of, he's more reserved. Mike was just beyond. Mike was on a whole nother stratosphere, but to this level, this era right now, that's the closest they got in that regard.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Do you think Lou Dibella has any beef with Tank Davis, PBC? Do you think there's any ulterior motive for making those comments?
It's possible. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
Jason, Greg, take away the shovel. Jason digging a deep ditch. That's what I was trying to do, man. I tried to rescue him in the last segment when he was talking about Michael Williams Jr. And
Jason Wayne has no loyalty to nobody.
Again, got to
come back to help him again.
All right, man. Anything else we want to cover with Lou Dibella? We at about 54 minutes right now, Jay.
Nah.
All right. Cool. What else do we have?
What else we got?
Oh, yeah.
Your boys, your 2 favorite fighters negotiating to fight one another. T.O. and Josh Taylor.
Yeah. Let's go there, and then we'll cover off the last topic, and then we'll open up the phone lines.
Yeah. So with those two now negotiating each other, they're ducking Jack Catterall and Regis Prograis.
Yeah.
And the fact that Josh is basically ducked both of those fighters. He didn't give Regis didn't get a rematch, and now he's not fighting Jack. And he said he had an injury, but they had film of him. He said he had a leg injury. They had film of him at I forget whose fight it was, but he gets up because he gets into an argument with someone sitting next to him. He gets up, stands up, no problem. But he said the leg injury he had would keep him off his feet.
Mm-hmm.
So this makes no sense. So he's contradicting. He's ducking Jack on that stuff there. Now, do I think Jack's going to beat Regis? Hell no. I think Regis will stretch Jack on this. So yeah, T.O. ducking is don't want to smoke with Regis neither, because Regis will hurt T.O. Regis would beat all three of them.
I don't disagree with that. Jack Catterall is calling out Regis. We'll see if that fight ends up materializing. I like the fight. I would like to see those two guys get into the ring and mix it up. Nobody seems to want to get into the ring with them currently, so you might as well make it happen as an interim fight and then go from there. So that'll be interesting, Jay. We'll see what ends up happening with that.
Yeah, we definitely gonna be watching the fight, but I just hate the fact that T.O.'s not fighting Regis and Jack's not getting that rematch against Josh, because Jack and Regis both arguably beat Josh Taylor in both their matchups against him. And T.O. just coming to 140, he arguably lost to Sandor Martin. And some say he did lose to Sandor Martin, So, I mean, all of a sudden he gets a title match.
Yeah, I agree.
Not feeling that one.
I agree. You ain't wrong for that. You ain't wrong at all. Finally, man, our last topic, Terence Crawford, man, Bernie the boxer. Our friend, Ray Jack, friend to the show, Ray Jackson on Twitter, was responding to someone who was upset about the fact that they had been billed again by BLK Prime, and Bernie the boxer went into the comment section and replied to that individual, basically saying that I don't care as long as we got paid, right? And so some people got upset that we tied that to Terence Crawford. I think it's fair to do so, because Bernie the boxer has a habit of running his mouth, and I don't see where either Terence Crawford is disputing what he said or Terence Crawford is stopping him from talking, because you know how it goes, man. When you're associated with somebody, people start to take that what you say is what they feel as well. So Terence Crawford hasn't said anything about it, and as far as I'm concerned, he's demonstrated that he really just cares about lining his pockets and getting paid. So Jay, I want to pass it to you very quickly. We'll talk about that, and then we'll open up the phone lines. What are your thoughts on that, man?
I mean, he's just saying basically what we've been saying for how many videos now? It was all about getting the money, and the fact that it bothers me because he's pretty much the mouthpiece for Bud's side. He's the mouthpiece from Bud, and the fact that you don't care about what's happening with BLK when they were double charging people and everything, when that was part of the company that you just fought on, or your friend fought on. It's crazy to me. It's just like, it's disingenuous. You're strictly about your money only. You don't care about the fans who supported you. They ran to BLK, the battle at pay-per-view, and to go to the fights. And Terence Crawford was big. The only reason they came to BLK was because of Terence Crawford and you.
Correct.
Because y'all left them in the dust, as you say.
Yeah, they don't feel any responsibility for it. I mean, Terence Crawford was on his live stream telling everybody to go buy the fight, and that the fight that BLK Prime was changing the game. And so they did. They changed the game by double billing folks. And so it's just good public relations to say, hey, I didn't know that this was going to happen. I'm going to have a conversation with Desmond Gums. I'm going to have a conversation with Desmond. This isn't right. And that's just good PR. It's just good PR, because you know that your name is tied to this, and your name looks like shit in these streets right now. So in order to help with your name, that's something that you should do. So, I mean, it's just common sense to do it, but for whatever reason, it seems to be an issue with doing it.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I'm not. I mean, since Bernie's like the mouthpiece for Bud, Bud in turn should say something. You know, he's not with BLK. It was a one fight deal,
Right.
but people came to BLK because of him. If he
Exactly.
wasn't on there, they wouldn't have gone to BLK Prime.
Exactly. Totally agree with
Or
that.
as or as Spence was telling him when they had that meeting, Bud need to check his, you know, check his dude.
So I wonder, BOK Prime is off to a rocky start. We know that Terence Crawford fight, regardless of what they say, was not successful because they had to have been in the red in regards to that fight. So they are off to a rocky start with Adrian Broner now. Fights, being canceled. I feel for him, man. Actually, I don't because
Yeah,
I think they might be a bunch of crooks, but I don't. Who knows?
I feel bad for
Anyway,
AB.
I feel bad for AB definitely. So, man, that was all the topics that I wanted to cover, Jay. We're at the hour mark, so good timing. We got 91 likes. We got 156 people in the building. If you haven't had the opportunity yet, please hit the like button. And if you don't like the content, hit the dislike button, but make sure that you are engaging with the content. The subscribe button is right in the lower right-hand corner. Click on it because Jason and I are always dropping content on a daily basis, clips, live streams, documentaries, fight breakdowns. We do it all on this channel. So please hit that subscribe button and check us out. Also, while you're at it, and T Ward, this is your cue. Please go subscribe to the Mic Check podcast. Drop that link in the chat section, Q. Also, the Boxing Source, as well as Showboating, Fanon, Manager Marty. Go check them all out. We operate with these guys. We are in contact with these guys. These guys are all great people.
Dope stuff. Dope
Hit the
people.
like button
Dope
like
content.
it's Greg and Jason's face. I like that, Jason. I like that. I like that. All right, man. So we've done that. So now we are opening up the phone lines. We're ready to go. I know somebody called us from 510. Is that Louisiana?
510. I have no clue on that one. I ain't gonna lie to you like that.
I feel like it
Here
is.
we go.
Let's see what this is. Oh, it's 510. You are on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. Who we got in the building?
This is Donald again from the Bay. I called you guys a couple times in the past.
Oh, okay, man. What's going on with you?
What's up, man? Yeah, I just want to say, man, I know this may sound a little hypocritical that I'm listening to a boxing channel and calling into a boxing channel, but I don't know. It's like we talking about more fights than that happening. And slowly it's starting to kill my drive from the sport because, everybody knows the Spud and Spence. I don't even like to say that fight no more. And then, like you hit a good point. We literally have to see Ryan and Tank literally walk in the ring just to believe that fight's going to take place. And it's like, it's like damn near like 98% of these fights we talk about don't happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a fair point, man. That's a fair point.
Yeah. Like,
Completely
I was,
agree with that.
if you notice, I'm sorry, guys.
No, I was just
Oh
gonna
no, you
say.
good.
I mean, we can't argue your point there, and it's a shame because at this point, the probability of a lot of these fights happening, it just seemed to not happen. And we were on the show on Friday. Shout out to Tim Witherspoon, and we were talking about just overall the importance of not losing in this generation and how it's preventing a lot of fights from happening. And I think that's part of the bigger problem within the sport is that people are so afraid to lose that they're not making the fights that need to be made.
No, but here's the thing. You got fighters with losses that are picky. Canelo got several losses, and he out here moving, scared to fight people. You got Teo, who has a loss. So it's not just the fighters that have zeros. You got fighters that got losses that scared to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair
Yeah,
point. I can't argue your point, man. I can't argue your point at all.
Yeah. You got all of a sudden I know the steam out of that Devin Loma fight. If you notice, you don't really hear about that numbers. Loma has 2 losses. Like if anything, this is the fight that could bring his career back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
This is a win-win for Loma because if he lose, he could just make the excuse that hey, I was too old. I came off the war. I only had like 1 fight since I was in the war. And then if he loses, everybody expect him to lose. But it seems like he's the one that don't want to fight.
No, I totally agree with that, man. And I mean, you're spot on when you say that, man. It just doesn't feel like a lot of these guys want to make the fights. Anything else you want to share with the people, bro?
Oh no, I just want to say that. Yeah, it's just kind of slowly just kind of killing my love for the sport. It's almost like, can we just fast forward to the next era? Because it's like this era, nobody want to fight each other.
That's a fair point, man. Hopefully, we'll get some big fights announced here in the next couple of weeks, and you know, that'll pick up your drive for the sport. I appreciate you calling in, bro. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Man.
All right, later. All right, man. That was the Bay calling in to the show. The Bay. We got the lines open, man. So whoever want to call, please let us know. But he's right, Jay.
It's hurting,
bro. This is a different era. Back, and man, even like, you know, you gotta assign some blame to Floyd Mayweather. Not in the sense that Floyd did anything wrong, but Floyd, the way that he marketed himself, made that zero so important that now every fighter is trying to follow that blueprint. And we know that within the history of the sport, there has not been a whole lot of fighters who have retired undefeated. It's not reasonable to actually retire undefeated. So a lot of these guys are trying to chase that same blueprint while not actually really following Floyd's blueprint, which was he fought the more challenging fights earlier in his career. When he was at welterweight and he was Money Mayweather, he was fighting fighters coming off of their best wins. So it's important to understand that blueprint, not only from just a certain aspect of it, but you need to understand that blueprint from beginning to end. So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah,
oh, man,
the missing
Chicken Talk. Man.
The missing
man, shout out
Pretty
to Chicken
Boy.
Talk, man. Y'all go subscribe to the channel.
Your Chicken Talk's that dude. Now they're missing the work that Pretty Boy put in to be Money May.
Absolutely.
You know, people talk, oh, he dug, he picked. I'm like, y'all don't know what Pretty Boy, y'all don't remember Pretty Boy, what he was doing? Fighting Diego Chico Corrales, who was undefeated, had all the advantages, moving up in weight to fight Oscar. I'm like, come on, man. Y'all gotta do better. You know, I see what you're saying as far as like, you know, Floyd does have some blame for it, but folks just gotta put these people that like, look, you gotta do the work. That's why Floyd was getting pissed off. These fighters not doing the work and just want him just to play them blindly. And he learned a hard lesson by paying some of them blindly without them doing the work.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know, Jason Williams, he say, I watched all my favorite fighters get stretched. Yeah, me too. It's a part of the game, dog. Your favorite fighter will lose. Being undefeated is not. It's not. I mean, it's not the measuring stick by which we determine whether or not a fighter is a great fighter or not. Being undefeated, it's just not.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, these fighters need to make more of an effort to make the best fights, and hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that. I thought we were going to see a little bit more of that, you know, in the next couple of years, but I don't know. Maybe this next bit of fighters, maybe the Devin Haney's and the Tank Davises and the Shakur Stevensons and Frank Martins of the world, the Virgil Ortizes and Stanionis and all those guys, maybe they'll be the ones that brings it back to the glory years where, you know, everybody's fighting everybody, putting on the best fights and bringing the sport back to where it belongs.
Yeah, Jason Mee had a good point. He said Floyd gave a blueprint and didn't explain it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see who we got calling in, man. 203 area code, Jay. You are on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. Who we got in the building?
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Tunnel Vision.
What's up, Tunnel Vision?
What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on, man? Man, I 100% have to disagree with y'all. People need to stop blaming stuff on Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather has absolutely nothing to do with what these people over here are doing. You know what I'm saying? Let's say everybody's building 2-story homes, right? Everybody's building 2-story homes, and that's what they do. And I come over here and I start building 8-story homes, you know, and I'm making a lot of money doing it. So then other people also start building 8-story homes, but they don't build the foundation right. They don't do the things that's necessary as far as code's concerned. Then hurricanes or something happens and they start crumbling. You can't then turn around and say, oh, man, well, what's it called? Television, he started it. He's the one who started this. So, it's his fault that, all this stuff is happening. These guys aren't following Floyd Mayweather's blueprint. People always talk about, I always hear people say that, people, they never focus on Pretty Boy Floyd. They only focus on Money May. But the reality is they're not doing what Money May did. Money May had moved up in weight so much that he was fighting at and above his walk-around weight. Floyd's weighing in at 147 pounds 2 months before a fight, weighing in at 150 pounds to fight at 154 pounds, to fight champions, guys coming off of their biggest wins. You know what I'm saying? Guys who are top 10 pound-for-pound fighters. That's what he was doing. So in order for you to put the blueprint, you have to do that. One of the biggest things people used to always say was that all Floyd cares about is the money. Because Floyd would always do the biggest fight. People actually won't even do the biggest fights just because, quote, they think they might lose, or they're thinking long term. Like, if I take this loss, what's this loss going to do to my career long term? Floyd was like, nah, I can beat that dude, and that's a record payday, so I'm going to take that record payday. Everybody always remembers what people said after those fights. They don't remember what people said before those fights. I remember what people were saying before the Manny Pacquiao fight. I remember what people were saying before the Canelo fight. There's a reason why it sold that much. I remember what people were saying before the Oscar De La Hoya fight. People thought he was going to lose these fights. That's why they were so big. So people aren't following they're not following the blueprint that Floyd put down. They're going actually the complete opposite.
Tunnel, I think you're actually saying the same thing we were saying. And what I actually stated was, so when you look at Floyd, the marketing, people don't understand. They're not actually following the blueprint. That's literally what I said. They're trying to follow an aspect of the blueprint, but to the point that I was making, there was Pretty Boy Floyd that actually fought the best fighters coming up. It was Money Mayweather who was actually fighting fighters that came off of their best wins. These guys are not doing that. So the only part that I was talking about highlighting when I said it's kind of Floyd fault is that when you see the marketing from the zero perspective, guys are trying to cling on to that aspect of the blueprint, which in reality, that's really not just the blueprint. They're grabbing on to 2% of the blueprint when the blueprint has another 98% that they're not following. That was my point.
Yeah, because the thing is, though, I don't think that's what they're following. I think because Floyd Mayweather was so big and he actually, he pretty much was like the main fighter of the last generation, people look at it and say, oh, they are trying to, quote, do that. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think it's just that, especially when people are with certain promotional companies, they're sticking within their certain promotional companies. They're being moved in a certain way where it's like, no, we don't, if he takes his loss, it's going to hurt his marketability. But they're not looking at it like we need him to be undefeated like Floyd because then he's going to end up being this big superstar. People are still doing the same thing they always have done. What Bob Arum, like what happened with Teofimo Lopez, Bob Arum has always done that. He's always moved guys in that particular way. The things that Eddie Hearn is doing, even whether it be he or his father, he's always moved like that. So I don't think it's but because Floyd is there, people are looking at Floyd and saying, oh well, it's because of him, or they're looking at that undefeated thing. It's not. If you honestly look at the way they have moved their fighters through the last a couple of decades, this is how they've done it. And they've done this for a long time. So I don't think it's a Floyd thing. I don't think it's a thing of where they're looking at it like, oh, if we can just stay undefeated, we're going to make a lot of money. No, they're looking at like, what is in the best interest of my company, and what is in the best, what is in the best interest of this particular fighter we believe long term. I mean, the only person that's I would say is kind of weird in the way that he's more, even with Canelo actually. Even with Canelo is making actually less money now than what he could actually be making. But he's looking at it like long term. He's looking at it like, I'm going to fight till I'm 40 years old. So if I take these major losses with these tough fights, long term, I'm going to be losing money. So let me just take these easier fights. Floyd was all about, let's do these biggest fights now. You know what I'm saying? I can make this amount of money with this fight. And then it just kept on building and building. Then it became, who's the next person that can beat him? It was all about, who does everybody think can beat me? And that's who he would fight. And that's who he'd make the money off of. So I don't think it has anything to do with him. People just keep talking about him because he was the man of the previous generation.
That's a fair point. I can still see it as a combination of all those things. I think you made a fair point in terms of the promoters and the way that they're moving, but I still believe that fighters, in their mind, they do value that zero, and I do believe that impacts some of the decisions that they make. So I can see it both ways. But Tono, anything else you want to share with the people, bro?
Yeah, just like 1, 2 more things, and I'm out of here. Another thing. I know people trash on Teofimo Lopez all the time, and with the moves that he's making and the things that he's been doing, but you cannot say that Teofimo Lopez is ducking Regis Prograis if he's fighting Josh Taylor. He's fighting the guy that's the number one guy at 140 pounds, the guy that's undefeated, the guy that was undisputed in the weight class, the guy that beat Regis Prograis. So he didn't fight Regis Prograis, but you could say he's fighting a bigger fight, not only lucratively, but just the better fighter in general. People can say whatever they wanted about that fight that he had against Cottrell or whatever it is, but he did come out with that victory, and over his career, he's shown that he is the top guy in the weight class. So Teofimo Lopez right now is going after the number one guy at 140 pounds. The guy that you could basically say is still undisputed, even though he doesn't have the belts. He's the guy. It doesn't matter what Regis Prograis does. It doesn't matter who he beats. You are not the man unless you beat Josh Taylor at 140 pounds. And that's the task that Teofimo Lopez is going on right now. So if he fights Josh Taylor, no one can say that he's ducking. That he's ducking anybody, because he's taken on what you can say is the biggest challenge. If somebody doesn't fight Shakur Stevenson, but goes and fights Devin Haney, who's the undisputed guy in that weight class, you can't say, he's ducking Shakur Stevenson because Shakur Stevenson wanted to fight him, or because he got an offer to fight him, or whatever it is.
The first thing when you said that, what came to my mind was Devin Haney. So let me ask you this: Do you believe that Devin Haney is the man then at 135 pounds and Nightane Davis?
No, it's kind of different. I'm not saying it as Devin Haney being the man. I'm just saying that I'm comparing basically with him, and I'm comparing it with like Shakur Stevenson. When Shakur Stevenson, it's kind of different because Josh Taylor actually fought everybody, and he's like literally is the man. But if you were to compare like another thing, if for whatever reason somebody didn't fight Shakur Stevenson, but they went and fought Devin Haney, you couldn't say that he's ducking him. But as far as Devin Haney being the man at 140 pounds, he's undisputed, but he didn't fight all the guys. It just wasn't a situation like at 140 pounds.
Yeah, I wanted that clarity because you used undisputed with Josh Taylor initially, and then I'm thinking, well, hold up now, because I don't think you actually believe that Devin Haney is the man.
No. Okay. I was in that situation. I was kind of just using two. I was using two fighters. No, there is until Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, until those guys fight each other, and one guy comes out the top. Like as being the man, no, you're not the man in that particular. You're not the man in that particular weight class.
So let me let Jason respond to that very quickly, because I know Jason feels differently about that. Jay, you want to comment on what he had to say very quickly?
I see what you're saying as far as his record, tunnel vision, as far as Josh, beating Jack, beating Regis, but Teo actually had an offer from Regis first. Also Josh said he was never going to fight Teo because Teo didn't bring anything to the table. So it's interesting to me that Josh is now going to fight Teo versus rematching Jack, because Regis is a champion. So I thought that would be a good fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Josh and Teo fight is still a good fight. I think Josh sees something in Teo, which is why he's accepting the fight against Teo versus rematching Jack.
Yeah, I think if he fought anybody else besides Josh Taylor, I think then you could say that, okay, yeah, he ducked. But if he's fighting Josh Taylor next, then you can't say duck because he is taking the bigger fight. Even if somebody offered you something, yeah, somebody offered him something, but clearly they had something that was bigger on the table. It's not like Top Rank didn't know this was going to happen. Regardless, like you said, Josh Taylor supposedly had this leg issue, but then he's just jumping up out of the seat and he's fine. Top Rank knew what was going on. So because they had, and Teofimo Lopez, he also said, I'm going to be fighting for the title. I'm going to be fighting for the title. So he knew what was going to happen. So he understood that he had a more lucrative situation that was coming up. If he didn't fight him and he fights some other lower tier fighter, and yeah, you could say he ducked. But if he fights that guy, he fights Josh Taylor, then you can't say he ducked. And then one last thing, and I'm out of here.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Real quick,
one last thing.
Tell me this: Who do you think is a bigger threat to beating Tio as far as like beating him brutally versus just outclassing him in a boxing match? Josh or Regis?
I think he can lose to either one of them. We just saw him go up against somebody that boxes and moves, and most people think that he lost.
Yeah,
so that's so I think it doesn't really matter. And
but
with either one of them, is a tough fight. I mean, to be honest, other people are not going to think this, but me personally, I think he has a better chance of beating Regis Prograis, due to the fact that we saw how Regis Prograis was getting touched up. He won the fight, yes, but he did get touched up and his face was all swole up. Teofimo hit you a couple times like that. Teofimo does have the power to put you down. So because of that, I honestly think that
he did at 135. I'm not sure about 140.
Yeah, so people, and this is going to be like an opinion where 90% of people are not going to agree with me, and I understand that. But out of the two people, I honestly think that he has a better chance against Regis Prograis, to be honest. And that depends, because we don't know what Josh Taylor's going to look like. Can he still be comfortable at 140 pounds? So that's also a question. But to be honest, I think he has a better chance against Regis Prograis, just due to the fact that Regis Prograis does get touched.
Yep.
And the one thing, and I'm out of here, the last thing, another thing I'm going to have to disagree with, when it comes to like being a pay-per-view star or being a superstar, I think selling over 1 million pay-per-views, or let's say 800,000, selling over 1 million pay-per-views, getting big gates, I still think that is the criteria. We can't get into some era of subsidized superstardom where now all of a sudden we're going to just kind of change things. So, in order for these guys to fit in that criteria, like every generation is usually only one or two guys that consistently sell high pay-per-views. That one guy was supposed to be Canelo Alvarez, but Canelo Alvarez chose to go to the DAZN, and he chose not to put himself into position to fight the fighters that would have been able to, garnish those kinds of pay-per-views. When he fought against Caleb Plant, which is pretty much was the lowest level guy that you could do pay-per-views with and do numbers, let's say with like the PBC, or of the guys who wanted to see him fight, he did over 750,000 pay-per-views, and he did over an $18 million gate. So if he had fought the other dudes, I believe he would have been that man who could have been consistently doing over 1 million pay-per-views with the fights that were available to him. There's a reason why PBC was willing to pay him $50 million per fight to face these guys, because they understood, marketing, what they can make from it. But our pay-per-view star of this generation chose to go in another direction. So, but somebody else will step up in there. It could be Tank Davis. Floyd Mayweather wasn't a big superstar pay-per-view-wise until he was in his 30s. When he was in his 20s, when he finally did get into pay-per-views, he was selling 300,000 plus pay-per-views. He didn't even get into his 30s, so there's a possibility Tank could be that guy. If it's not him, somebody else will eventually come down and become that man again. But we can't water down what it is. We can just say right now in this era, we have quote stars, but when it comes to like a superstar, like a Floyd, a Manny, a Tyson, a Oscar De La Hoya, we just happen to not have that right now, and we can't water down what that means, because it's disrespectful to those guys and what they've done.
I like what you're saying there. So let me ask you a question. Are you a LeBron James fan?
Yes, I'm a LeBron James fan, yes.
You think he's the GOAT?
No, I don't think he's the GOAT.
Oh, okay. Because if you would have said he was the GOAT, that would have been in direct contrary to what you just said. So,
no.
So I wanted to see if I had a LeBron fan that I could get my arms around right now. But no, awesome, man.
Nah, I think LeBron is he's a great player, but when you look at, you can't just, that people want to look at the fact that he beat Kareem's record, but you also have to look at the fact that, Jordan did have more championships, more final MVP trophies, more regular MVP trophies, more regular season defensive player of the year, winner, more first team defensive of the year, he was on the first team like 9 or more times than LeBron James when it came to being first team all defense in the league. Scoring titles, how many scoring titles he had. Like there's all these other criteria that when you start to compare it, he just washes him. And LeBron is trying to play like 10 more years more than Michael Jordan, not to mention the rules now that make it very easier to shoot. Not being able to hand check and push off.
Exactly.
It's a different game. So due to that, and not to mention him curling up and needing Chris Bosh and Ray Allen to save his ass. So no
exactly.
But Jordan, we all knew what's up. You get him the ball, he was going to handle the business. So that's the goal right there.
My man, you said it perfectly. Appreciate you calling in, Tunnel. LeBron is not the GOAT. I would say it again for the chat. LeBron is not the GOAT. Jordan accomplished more in less years. Thanks, Tunnel Vision. Appreciate you, bro.
No doubt. All right, peace.
All right, later.
Appreciate you, Tunnel.
Oh, we got somebody else calling in. Watch, they gonna want to talk about this LeBron shit.
Your fault. That's you.
You are on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. Who do we got in the building?
It's Chicken Talk.
Chicken
What's
Talk.
up,
What's
Chicken
going
Talk?
on, Chicken Talk?
First of all, look. I'm originally from Detroit, so all this Jordan love is not sitting right with me. Okay. It's way too much Jordan love on this station for my liking. Jordan was a good player, but he complained too much. When we roughed him up, he complained to the NBA that they got to change the rules. Like you was just talking about, this is a different era. Yeah, it's a different era because Jordan complained. The Pistons is the reason that they got the technical too, because of Jordan and the Bulls complaining to the league about the rough play. Didn't nobody complain when the Celtics was beating us up every year? Nobody complained. We just got better, got through it, and ended up winning. So Jordan had to go. And another thing that helped Jordan was like what, 8 NBA expansion teams watering down the league through the 90s. Isaiah Thomas is the only guy to beat. Isaiah Thomas is the only guy to beat Bird, Magic, and Jordan. Can't nobody else say that.
Those same expansion teams exist today. So the watered down thing doesn't make sense.
No. I'm saying you went from a league like look at those Cavaliers teams of the late 80s and 90s. You can never have that today because when they went through like what 6 teams expanded within 10 years. What you're doing, you're watering down the league.
So the league is watered down today then. So the league is also watered down today,
right? We lost Horn to an expansion team.
Yeah, but the team must also be watered down today, right? Wouldn't the league also be watered down today?
Bringing talking about LBJ and MJ, man. This your fault, Greg.
Look, I like.
Anyway, man, let's switch it back to boxing. We ain't gonna never agree on this.
Off the court as well as on the court. I ain't never seen nobody have that high of expectations and exceed them all. It was a lot of pressure coming on that young man.
He did an amazing job exceeding all of them. Amazing job. He's not the GOAT. So let's talk some boxing, Chicken Talk. What's going on?
What you got for us, Chicken Talk?
Look, I'm a diehard Pistons fan, man, and I just can't give it to Jordan. But television was hitting on a lot of good points, especially about the Floyd Mayweather thing.
Yeah.
With Canelo, you could tell, like Floyd, he will fight somebody coming in hot. If you coming off your biggest win, Floyd's gonna fight you.
Yep.
That's how he was able to sell so many pay-per-views. Canelo isn't doing the same thing at this point, and that's why you can see his star power to a certain extent diminishing. Even the Caleb Plant fight, which was a good fight, but his previous 2 pay-per-views, they did what? Over $1 million with Triple G? So if he could have built on that instead of, which I'm not going to fault the man because DAZN paid him a lot of money to sign that contract, but if he could have built on that, I think he could have consistently did over 1 million pay-per-views, over 1 million pay-per-views, over 1 million pay-per-views. Once you get it, you gotta build on it. You know, a lot of people, he disappeared to a lot of people for a minute when he went to DAZN. You know, like the hardcores and the big Canelo fans and you know a couple casuals follow him over there and they watch his fights. But as you can see, when he went back to pay-per-view, he instantly out the gate did 800 pay-per-view sales in a higher gate than he actually did with Cotto, which a lot of people don't know that. The Caleb Plant was one of his best, I think like his third best fight, third most financially profitable fight out of all his, besides Floyd. We're going to count that Floyd fight as Floyd's fight. Right. Yeah, wow, but I didn't realize that either. And another thing with the pay-per-views, like Tyson, Floyd, and for a minute Pacquiao, those are real outliers. Good pay-per-view numbers used to be like 400,000. Those are considered good.
Right.
You know, so if you take away the Floyd when I say take away Floyd, you also got to take away his fight with De La Hoya or whatever, or Pacquiao or Mike Tyson. Pay-per-view numbers weren't, you could do a 400,000, that was considered great. You do a 600,000, that was considered fantastic.
Yeah,
and a lot of these guys are not following the Floyd blueprint, where you fight often when you're young, you put on exciting fights when you're young, you also tap into the culture when you're young.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You remember Floyd? He was running around with Wu-Tang Clan. Him and Zab, they was running around with rappers and things like that. They were tapped into the culture. A lot of guys, you see them when they fight, and then they disappear into their next fight.
Yeah, we've seen that though. I mean, AB tried to tap into the culture, man, but I think he tapped in the wrong way. And I think that's one of the things that I like about Tank, man. I think Tank is definitely tapped into the culture, man. He is, he brings out the stars. A lot of people know who he is, and I think that's part of what's going to end up driving him to that next level.
If he gets his Ryan Garcia fights and if he beats him, 100%, he has the opportunity to become possibly the number one draw in America. His only issue is going to be who he fights after Ryan Garcia. If he can get a Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney or even a Lomachenko to a certain extent, but is nobody really on his side. It's so much big. The real problem ain't fighters protecting. It's networks. It's promoters protecting their network exclusivity deals. Mm-hmm. Like Oscar came out and said, we have to do what's right for our network partners. He didn't say we have to do what's right for Ryan Garcia, right?
That's fair.
Right.
He said we have to do what's right for our network partners. Like Bob Aaron with the TO versus Regis, or with Ramirez versus Regis. He's doing T.O. versus Taylor because that's what's right for his network, not what's right for his fighter. Because T.O. versus Regis would be T.O. versus Ramirez would be a great fight. That'd be one of the best fights. That will probably be the best fight Top Rank has put on all year. But since Regis isn't part of the Top Rank banner, he's not going to make that fight because he doesn't want to have his fighter lose to a guy that he's not tied to, he doesn't have options on. That's why when he told Devin Haney flat out, you signed to the wrong promoter. These are just promoters protecting their TV deals, their network exclusivity.
Let me ask you this, because Al Heyman has been accused of that now. I don't believe that that's what's occurring. But how do you address that? Because that is what people will use to then say that Errol Spence is ducking, because Errol Spence is Al Heyman is afraid that if Errol Spence loses to Terence Crawford, then he doesn't have any connection with Terence Crawford. He's not going to allow the belts to go, so the fight's never going to happen. So I'm always careful about talking about the networks. But go ahead. How do you address that, Chicken?
I don't know if people really understand who Al Heyman is or what Al Heyman does. But if you see a situation like he was saying Sean Porter over to ESPN, he was saying Fulton over to ESPN, he was saying you got to realize all three of Terence Crawford pay-per-view fights were PBC fighters. Sean Porter, Postol, and Amir Khan. They were all three revised by Al Heyman.
Gotcha.
So, like he sent when Wilder wanted to fight Fury, there was no options on Fury. There was only a rematch clause. That's it. So you if you beat him twice, you can leave. You see, like Devin, he had to actually sign a deal with Top Rank in order to get that fight with Vasil Lomachenko. They don't do those things. Their business model is totally different from the last one. And what did you say about Earl and Spence? About Spence and Bud? What did Al Heyman do with what?
People are trying to use that as, there's no option on Terence Crawford, therefore Al Heyman is not going to make that fight, because if Crawford wins, he's going to be able to walk away from the title, walk away with the titles, and Al Heyman won't have the titles in his possession. And my thing is, and I've always had an argument against that, but I want to get your thoughts on that, because I'm just playing devil's advocate and want to hear your opinion on it.
I think it would be a rematch clause, the same way it would be with Tyson Fury. Bud doesn't have a long-term contract, and with Earl with 3 belts and the A side, of course, you're going to give that guy a rematch clause. Anytime the champion is doing a voluntary fight, you give him it's customary that you give him a rematch clause. He has 3 belts. If he beats Earl one time, then he beat him again, and he's walk away free and clear. The same way Fury was able to walk away free and clear. The same way Canelo was able to walk away free and clear. He didn't even have to have a rematch clause. So I've never seen this. People think that fighters make the company. Top Rank has been in business for 50-something years. They've had their biggest fighters all take losses. The fighters are retired and gone. Top Rank is still here. It's not about who wins the fight. It's about who wins the terms of the contract. These losses mean nothing. These companies are going to be here forever.
I totally agree with that. And at the end of the day, regardless of whether or not Errol Spence wins or loses against Terence Crawford, which I believe he's going to win, Errol's moving up to 154 pounds regardless. So whatever those belts are that he currently has, those belts are going to go and get distributed amongst, well, they'll probably still end up going to PBC fighters. But at the end of the day, those fighters, those belts, they're not going to be in the possession of Errol Spence much longer anyway. So I don't think that would be a reason why Al Haymon would prevent that fight from happening. I don't think Al Haymon is going to prevent any fight from happening because at the end of the day, he's a manager and not the actual promoter. And he's there. He has a fiduciary responsibility to do what's in the best interest of the fighter. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. He has a fiduciary. That's why Errol Spence was left without a fight. And when the Crawford thing went down, that's why Earl was left without a fight because he was only working towards that fight. Like people say, well, you don't spend 6 months on one fight and not want to fight, man. I mean, a lot of things people say is just kind of it's kind of ignorant and it's kind of stupid. I don't know if they're stupid or if they're playing stupid or what. But you don't spend 6 months on a fight and you supposedly don't want to fight. There was only one time he told when Aram asked him about making a fight, he said, well, he's busy for this year, but we'll make the fight next year. That's when they was making Fury. That's when they were making Fury versus Wilder 2. They talked. He was like, well, Earl is busy for the rest of this year. We'll make the fight next year. Aram said that's out of Aram's own mouth. And then Earl got into the car accident. So that delayed it.
That's 100%. I would say what you just said in terms of you don't spend 6 months trying to make a fight if you don't want to fight. I would say that's 100. Well, I would say that's 99% applicable, except in the case of Terence Crawford. Because I've never seen
people saying that Haymon don't really want to fight. They think that this man spent 6 months wasting his time on a fight that he didn't want.
Yeah, he did.
Well, Crawford, he was doing something else, which I've always thought he was playing PBC against BLK because only one side knew there was two negotiations going on. The other side didn't know. The other side thought they would just negotiate with one. And once he was playing them back and forth, what he really should have did was play them against each other. If you really want to fight Earl, then you tell PBC, look, this is what they're offering me over here. Yeah, Can y'all beat this?
Exactly.
Oh my God, Chicken! I literally said that exact same thing to Jason Williams a few weeks ago. I've never seen it. Like if you're a job interview and you got two offers, you always play. You let the other job know that there's someone else offering me money. That's how you play both sides against each other to get exactly what you want. So there was absolutely no reason not to disclose that information. I don't know why people don't understand that shit.
Yeah, it's called leverage.
Absolutely.
It's called leverage. When Floyd signed that big deal with Showtime, he took it back to HBO and said, can you match this or beat this? They said no. He said, okay, I'm going to Showtime. You always give them opportunity to match or beat your offer.
Absolutely.
I just don't want to get into this buzz stuff because it gets me so much worked up. Man. But what y'all think? Y'all think Ryan versus Tank happening? It's gonna be announced this week?
I think it has to be.
Honestly, I thought it would have been announced within a couple of days after everything was settled. So I'm surprised that it hasn't been announced yet. To Jason's point earlier, it's seven weeks out. They ain't got a whole lot of time, and Oscar is claiming that it's all said and done, finished and finalized from their end. So it's in PBC's court. I'm assuming that because they're the A side, they have the ability to actually announce the fight. So we'll see. They need to do it quick, man.
Yeah, that's what Oscar said. Oscar said that pretty much since PBC is the lead dog in this, they got to announce it. So hopefully it happens this week because it's getting close.
What about Fury and Usyk? Do y'all think that's happening? Because that's the week. That's supposed to be the week after, right? 29th, 15th. We're 2 weeks after.
2 weeks out, April 29th.
I'm starting to lean toward that one not happening. Yeah, to me, man, the energy from Fury for the last several weeks, just based off of what's been reported, has not felt like he actually really wants that fight. Not to say that he's scared of Usyk or anything like that. It just doesn't feel like he really wants that fight.
I mean, he's never given the impression he wants it. He's always said he didn't care about that fight. And you had to pay him a lot of money to
knock
take
out
it.
AJ and be done.
Yeah. Fury must be hiding behind Al Heyman.
Blame Al. When in doubt, blame Al, right?
When in doubt,
And
blame
look,
Al.
my man earlier, he was saying guys ain't fighting each other. Let me tell you, man, look, boxing is to me personally, is in a great space. We've seen, especially this beginning of this year has been great. There's been a lot of good fights, even like a fight last yesterday evening with Lee Wood and Mauricio Lara. Man, 5-6 years ago, we would never even seen that fight unless you found it on a dodgy stream somewhere. But most of us would have never even cared about it because we would not have access to these guys' career. Right. Boxing is more on an international level right now. You get like a Nui versus Fulton. That wouldn't have been a fight nobody cared about 5 years ago. You know, Lee Wood versus Lara. Yeah. We cared about that fight because we have been shown these fighters and we've had access to their careers. Bivol versus Yarde versus Betchbiev. We care about that fight because we've had access to these guys. You know, it's just a lot of fights that five years ago we wouldn't even have cared about. It would have just been, these guys are overseas fighting. A couple hardcores know who they are. Maybe I'll find a dodgy stream to watch it. But boxing is in a great place this year. We've had every weekend we have a fight of the year contender. And there are 4 belts, and we have more unified and more undisputed champions than any other time in the history. So yes, everybody is fighting everybody. So this idea that nobody's fighting nobody is crazy to me when you have more unified champions, meaning you had to fight another champion, and you have more undisputed champions, meaning you had to fight other champions than ever. It's just we're not getting certain 1 or 2 fights like Crawford and Spence. We didn't get Crawford and Spence, so everybody think, nobody's fighting nobody. No, that's not true. They are fighting each other. That's why we have so many unified champions.
I see your point in that. I think to play devil's advocate, I think the issue is those fights that you're mentioning that have not been made. Those are the fights that are like the engine that drives the car, right? The car being boxing. I think that's what's when you start talking about it from a hardcore fan perspective, totally agree with you. But when you start thinking outside of the hardcore boxing fans, trying to get the general public involved with boxing and expanding boxing in a way that it becomes more of a mainstay in the public's eye. I think that's what people are talking about when they're concerned relative to where boxing is currently today versus what it used to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that, but then I would ask you, what are those fights that brings the casuals in? You got Tank and Ryan. We know that's a fight to bring the casual in. Earl and Bud, to a certain extent, that bring the casuals in. But then what are the other fights? I don't think Charlo versus Canelo was a huge fight.
I think the only Wilder one that would bring
Wilder
versus
AJ was a huge fight in 2017.
Wilder, I think it still brings in casuals today. I think that fight will still do well today.
Who, Wilder and AJ?
Yep.
Yeah,
I absolutely think that fight would be
if AJ would actually if AJ would come over here to America and fight, so people know you got to understand it. The last memory people have of AJ in America is getting beat around the ring by a fat guy. That's the last time they've seen AJ fight. The casual fans in America, that's the last time they've seen AJ. He got sent back home on a plane by Ruiz. So that's the last memory they know of AJ.
That's fair.
So if AJ would have fought Franklin over here and knocked him out, then it would get the fight more back hyped up. Yes, I do agree with that 100%. But AJ has to somehow build his profile over here.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. I'm wondering now. I'm wondering if he has the same presence within the UK where the folks would travel to see him fight, like Ricky Hatton. Who else used to come? I think Kazagi got a few of them to travel, right?
Oh yeah, they travel. They put in. They travel 15,000 people over here, but they're not. That's not pay-per-views. You know what I'm saying? The pay-per-views is going to come from the casuals that can't travel.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the money is coming from. It's from the pay-per-view market because you can only fit so many people into the arena, 20,000 people. After that, you got to rely. Your main money is coming off of pay-per-view, so it's going to have to be a big fight to the casual American audience.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe you beat up a bomb or two over here, get it hyped back up, and to me it seems like AJ is in his I don't give a F era in his life. Because the way when Eddie Hearn was talking about AJ just cares about the belts and unifying his legacy, and he asked him, AJ was like, I care about the money. I'm fighting for money. So it seems like he's tired of these other people speaking for him. He wants to speak for himself, and he's going to speak for himself in the ring. I like the
You might as
attitude
well
that
at this
he's
point.
been showing lately.
The shine is off of him at this point. You might as well not keep it real.
Yep. But he's been so buttoned up over there in the UK because you had to act a certain type of way over there in the UK. You know, if you of African descent, you can't be as
talk.
as.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Because me and Jason was arguing about this earlier, man. So you're gonna be the tiebreaker.
Oh,
You are familiar with what went on with Michael Williams Jr. and Roy Jones, and the fact that Roy wanted to pull him out of the fight, and he ended up getting his jaw broken. My opinion, Roy should have STFU and allowed this kid to go and make the biggest purse he could have ever made in his life. Because I don't believe in actually taking the opportunity away from anybody, regardless of what you think his defense is. You let him go out there and do his thing, or you gotta protect the fighter, and the fighter's just his defense just is not good enough to be in there with AB, who is really only 140 pounds. And we know that there's been a bunch of fighters who've been in the ring before whose defense wasn't all that spectacular either, i.e. Antonio Margarito, his face was basically a punching bag. What are your thoughts on that, bro?
No, Greg. You gotta give more context to that.
What are you talking about?
Michael Williams
Jr. Perfectly.
If Michael Williams Jr. Yeah, you're a little slanted way. So chicken talk. If Michael Williams Jr. is getting beat up in sparring,
who said he was getting beat up?
Beat up in sparring. He's getting touched up in sparring now. He's been knocked out with 2 fights before he got knocked out.
By
2 fights before that.
By middleweight, he's getting touched up by a middleweight. Let's give proper context. He was getting touched up by a middleweight.
No, we don't know what he didn't say was. He just said it wasn't a heavyweight.
You said it was a middleweight. I thought you said it was a middleweight.
I said I think it may have been. I think it may have been a middleweight, but he didn't say middleweight, super middleweight, anything like that. But anyway,
okay.
So check it out. You being the trainer of this fighter, and he's getting touched up. I understand it's a huge payday for this kid, a huge chance for the kid. This kid's getting touched up in training. How would you feel about putting that kid into that fight?
I mean, if Roy Jones thought the kid wasn't ready to go in there, and then the father was like, "Well, I'm gonna send him anywhere." Roy Jones should have resigned his position at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree.
STFU.
100 agree with that.
Yeah,
but instead, what Roy did was put him in there with some additional
if you're not gonna listen to me, I don't
got
think
the guy jaw broke.
The father want him in there, of course. And Broner only throwing like what 10 punches around.
Exactly. Broner's not gonna do anything to that kid.
Father. I mean,
exactly right, chicken talk. That's why I fuck with you, man, because you got logic.
Anyway,
Jason,
but think about this. Think about this.
I mean,
if we know AB only throws 5 punches around,
I mean, you getting the worst version of Broner.
Yeah, I mean, but think about it. We know AB only throws about 5-10 punches around. For him to only throw that small amount of punches around and still be concerned about him getting hurt. That lets you know this kid was probably getting really touched up in sparring a lot more than what
you making assumptions. And regardless of who's
Roy Jones ain't no good trainer. Shouldn't nobody be listening to him anyway.
Facts.
He died. I agree. I 100% agree with that, chicken talk. 100%. We saw you, Banks.
He ain't no great trainer. All right, I'm about to. Hey, one last thing before I go. What did y'all think of that stoppage last week?
I didn't get a chance to see it.
Which fight? What did y'all think of that?
That was interesting. It was only 10 seconds left in that round left. So there only been 10 seconds left in that round. I thought he could have made it through, But
reevaluate him in the corner.
Yeah, reevaluate him in the corner. If he's still not shaking,
it was actually less than 10 seconds. It was like the official stoppage was like 2:56. So it was like 6 seconds left. And if you notice, Lara was in the middle of the ring, so the ref was going to have to make him go back and reset anyway. He probably wouldn't even got a punch off within 6 seconds.
Yeah.
I think Ben Davidson didn't know how much time was left in that fight. He was unaware of the time left in that fight. That's why he threw in the towel.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Chicken Towel. I was like, when I saw the towel go, I was like, wait a minute, like what happened? And I looked at the clock. I was like, he had enough time, to go. I thought on that chance.
Not only if you look at the replay, you see as soon as before the towel comes in, Lara is right behind the referee trying to move him out the way. So if the fight would have continued, the referee's going to turn around and tell him to step back. Now you probably down to 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Lara doesn't even get a punch off. End of the round, reevaluate him at between the 1 minute round, and if he can't go, then he can't go. But I thought Davidson did his fighter a disservice, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I know Wood came out and said he agreed with Davidson after he thought about it and everything. But I mean, he's still gonna keep him supposedly, I guess, as his trainer, despite that.
Yeah, he needs to go to Shane and Barry McGuigan, because Ben Davison is not no real trainer. I wish he was still Fury's trainer, because that's when why he didn't throw in the towel when Tyson Fury was on his back with his eyes rolled in the back of his head. Throw in the towel in, Ben Davis. All right, y'all. I got to get to eat. Y'all take it easy. Though.
All right, man, bro. Thank you for calling.
Appreciate you, fam.
All right, man. Hey, we got 154 people in the building, 135 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit the like button. Or if you don't like the content, hit the dislike button. But make sure that you interact with the content. And if you're not a subscriber already, please subscribe to the channel. Jason and I are always dropping content, film breakdown, documentaries, you name it. We're doing it from a boxing perspective. So make sure that you join the channel. While you're at it, go check out the Mic Check podcast, The Boxing Source. Who's our other folks? I'm drawing a blank. Manager Marty.
Showtime.
Showboating. Fanon just was in the building, man. Go check all those channels out, man. They're always dropping amazing content. All right. Jay, the phone lines are back open. So, Chicken Talk, he came in with some really good insight, but most importantly, confirmed that I was right and you were wrong.
Man, shut the hell up. Go to hell.
Did he not?
He did not.
All right.
He did not.
He absolutely did. So, guys, we're probably going to go another 10 minutes or so, man. So if you got questions or you want to come in and you want to make some comments, man, please call in right now. We got somebody calling. You're on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. Who do we have in the building?
Hey, what's up, gentlemen? This is Adrian from LA, baby.
Adrian, I knew
what's
it was
up,
you,
Adrian?
bro. I knew it was you. What's going on with you?
Hey, what's up, Jason? What's up, Greg? Well, what I wanted to get into today, okay? So I heard you guys' little disagreement about Roy Jones Jr. and the way that he's, when Michael Williams got his jaw broken, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
You know what, man? Man, I'm kind of in between right there because, in a way, man, you got to let the guy fight, I mean, like Greg said, man, that's going to be a big payday right there, man. And like I said, if I'm going to get my jaw broken, at least I want to get a couple $100,000 for it,
Exactly.
But he got his grill broken for free, Number two, I want to get into that, man. I kind of feel bad for AB right there, man. Man, poor guy, man. It doesn't seem like nothing can go his way. Nothing go his way, man.
BLK is cursed. And he should have never affiliated himself or aligned himself with BLK. He should have stayed over there with all those gorillas and Godzilla. Maybe he'd be fighting right now.
I agree. And you know what, too, man? But I want to get into so Bud's talking to De La Hoya, man, right? And let me tell you right now, man, De La Hoya is terrible, man. This guy's going to do nothing for him, man. And if De La Hoya does get to be his, promoter, then that Bud fight with Spence is not going to happen because we both know Golden Boy and PBC does not get along. We know that, right?
Yeah, that fight is dead in the water if he signs with Golden Boy. There's nothing that Oscar is probably going to throw every monkey wrench he can in the fight, even if Bud wants it. Bud may be going over there because he knows it's a dead fight if he goes to Oscar. Maybe that's what he wants. Maybe he doesn't really want that fight.
Get some money.
Facts. True. And I also think, man, that because you see Oscar just screwing up this tank fight going on. It's like every time you want to do something, Oscar wants to throw a wrench in it. It seems to me, maybe I'm wrong, because Ryan's got a past of ducking out of fights. Ryan's a big ducker too, and he makes Latinos look bad too, just like Canelo does. But just like, hey man, straight up, real talk. But I just see Oscar throwing a wrench in this fight because it just seems like if you give him what he wants, he throws all of a sudden the last second, hey, I want something else or whatever, So I don't even know if this fight's going to happen.
I don't know, man. I probably don't believe. I will believe that fight's going to happen when they walk to the ring.
Yes.
And it's because of the points that you've made, right? Ryan pulling out of fights, Oscar De La Hoya being involved with the fight. I don't know, man. I don't have a high degree of confidence that the fight is going to materialize. But when I see Tank Davis, his energy suggests to me that he wants that fight. There's nothing in terms of his energy that would suggest that he doesn't want that fight. When I look at Ryan was very animated, very, very, very animated. But on the last video that I saw him with ES News, all that animation was gone. All that energy and smoke had dissipated. So it makes me wonder if now that he's gotten closer, maybe the contract is signed, the reality of what he's in for has hit him. And I wonder now he might just calm himself down. Because remember when he thought Tank was hurt, oh, champ, hope everything works out for you, champ. We got a better fight coming up. Where's all that energy, all the pussy, I'm going to beat you and all that other bullshit? I think the reality is set in and he knows what he's up against.
Yeah, that's true, man. Make a Tank is a beast. I mean, I think that Ryan can probably hang with him for a few rounds with he has all that reach, he has a hype on him and all that. But it just takes one punch from Tank and it's lights out, baby, lights out, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. I appreciate
that's all it's really going to take right there. I was also going to talk about I heard of rumors about Boots possibly fighting that fool that beat Speedy Rashidi. What's the name of the guy? Villa?
Villa.
I heard that.
Yeah, Villa.
Yeah, Villa fighting Boots. That'd be a great fight for Boots. I mean, Boots will light him up because that guy stands right there. I mean, he's a target right there. You know, he's not going to run around like that guy that he fought last time, Karen, whatever the hell his name was.
Yeah.
But
I agree with you. I think
Boots will put him to sleep.
We'll check on that too, Jay. Maybe we can find out some information on whether or not I don't know who he's going to fight next. I just know he's not going to be IBF champion in May or June. I do know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's not it. It's not going to happen. But I would like to see Boots get in there with Ortiz. But I know that Ortiz is going to be fighting the what's his name again? Stanionis, right?
Stanionis.
Yeah. He'd be fighting him, whatever. But and Ortiz don't want none of Boots, man. I don't care what anybody says. He don't want none of Boots. Boots will sleep him, man. I think Boots will sleep him too. You know, Boots is the future, bro. Boots is the future, man.
He might be the future. I still got to see more out of him, man. I don't. If he is the future of the sport, I don't doubt it. Would not surprise me. But I think he got to work on his skills, man. He got to mix. And I think they had kind of admitted here recently, Jay, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, but I think to some degree they acknowledge that, hey, there's some things that need to be brushed up on and worked on, right?
Yeah, Boots admitted that himself. That some things he talked about, he should have cut the ring off better against Karen. I mean, that's what we all said, you know. So I mean, I think Boots can be better. I think he will be better because I think this was a one-off. I think he put extra pressure on himself because he kept talking about Mike Tyson, all this. He's been watching all this, so he wanted to try to get a highlight reel knockout. And this fighter here was like, I'm not here just to let you knock me out like that. You're gonna have to earn this. And Boots couldn't cut the ring off. Even when he's in front of Boots, Boots still couldn't hit him. He was still slipping Boots pretty easily at times. So Boots still won the fight easily, but still it wasn't what he wanted.
Ortiz the credit that he deserves. Like, I'm high on Virgil. Everybody probably knows I'm high on Virgil. I've mentioned Virgil on many occasions. I'm high on Virgil. I think Virgil is a really good fighter. So
yeah,
I just don't see. I think people are going to be surprised when they get in the ring. I don't think Boots runs through Virgil at all. I think if Virgil catches Boots with what Karan caught him with, it could night. So we'll see.
Yeah. But isn't it? But isn't it true that Virgil could have fought Boots? I mean, that Virgil could have fought a Bud, but he didn't take the fight.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know, man. That ain't cool. I tell you right now, because if you would have gave Boots the opportunity, Boots would have took that chance, man, and Boots would have slept Bud. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I love Boots, but Virgil didn't take that chance, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's a fair.
I don't like that in my fighter.
Definitely.
But
I agree with that.
So check this out, man. I know you guys are busy today. I wanted to check in with you guys again. Hey, man, I love you guys, man. Greg and Jason, you guys are the best. Hey, my son, a shout out to my son Jeremiah. What's up, baby? And you guys have a real nice day, boy. All right. God bless you both, man.
All right.
Same all right. Man. Appreciate you calling in, bro.
You got it, man. Bye-bye.
Later. Oh, man, that was Adrian, man. That's our guy, man. He's always calling in and checking in with us, man. That's our dude.
So chicken
Jay, what's
talk.
happening,
Welterweight, he
man?
got
We've
EJ,
been
Virgil, Bud, Thurman, staying on his boots. Damn, that's interesting. Top 6 for welterweight that EJ that chicken talk got up on the
EJ, Virgil, Bud, Thurman, Stanionis, Boots. I think I would flip Virgil and Bud.
Yeah.
But that's it. Yeah.
I probably have Boots at 5 instead of Stanionis.
Man, I just struggle with Boots, man, because I need to see more. I got to see more from Boots. Once I see a little bit more, it'll be easier for me to judge. But right now, it's just not enough. I just haven't seen enough to really make a fair assessment about him.
That's because that last fight really soured everyone. You know, that fight showed stuff that we weren't expecting. You know, we were cautious. We're cautiously optimistic.
Were expecting it. You and I have been talking about this offline and said that we saw some holes, and those holes kind of
but not as far as like cutting out the ring though.
No. We didn't know about cutting out the ring. That was something that we learned new in that fight. So it is what it is. Hopefully he will he'll improve. So Jay, we had 2 hours, man. We don't have any more phone calls coming in. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut the phone line off. And we'll go ahead and wrap up the show.
Yeah, so Boots said he was probably gonna come back in June.
Huh?
Boots mentioned that he might be coming back in June, May or June as well. Probably June.
We'll see who he comes back against. But hey, we want to give our appreciation to everybody that joined us today. 137 people in the building. If you haven't had the chance, please hit the like button and go subscribe to the channel. We always dropping. And yeah, man, shout out to Chicken Talk. Go subscribe to his channel. T Ward, the Mic Check Podcast. Go subscribe. The Boxing Source, Showboating, Manager Marty. We mess with all those folks. Fanon was in the building today, man, showing love. Appreciate you, Fanon. And everybody that was in the chat, the Keggy, Sean Marcus, everybody that gave money today. I don't remember everybody. Fanon gave money. The League of Legacy, that's our guy.
Mark
the League, we got to get you on today at one of these on one of these shows. Yeah. Who else gave
Texas
Jay?
Bulldog Boxing. Texas Bulldog
Boxing. Appreciate you.
LT, Mark M, and League.
Mark M is one of the folks that's always on the channel, man. So much appreciation to you guys. I don't know if you guys noticed, but you know, we always trying to make things a little bit better. You can see that there's a background now where it's kind of showing some Errol Spence highlights, things like that. We're always working. If you guys got any suggestions in terms of things that we can do to make the channel better, please reach out to us. I need to change my email, but my email now is gregory.white@amsports.media. You can reach me there. I'll drop it in the chat as well. We are open to suggestions from any and all people, because it's the people that help you out in terms of
make the channel.
How to make your product better. So I haven't seen Brenda McDonald in a while. I don't know what's going on with Brenda. She had sent me an email a while back and told me she was giving up on boxing. Maybe she is. I don't know. But yeah, man, we are very appreciative of everybody joining us today. We will have content out the next few days as well. Like I said, started working on Carl Brown. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Much respect.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll have more content this week. Jay, like I mentioned, I started working on another documentary here. It's going to take me probably several weeks to get through it, but we're going to drop it. It's going to be on Errol Spence and kind of, his career. I've already kind of written everything out and framed it up. It's just a matter of, recording and doing all the editing and all that stuff. So hopefully we'll be able to get that out in a few weeks. Infinite blessings to Jason and Greg. Chicken Talk. God bless everyone else in the chat. Also, this one is a phenomenal platform. Sean Marcus, we appreciate that, bro. We're trying, man. We trying over here, man. Trying to bring new things to you guys and hope everybody enjoys the content. Yeah, man. Make sure you reach out to us, man. If you got any ideas, we appreciate all ideas. Jay, anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Nah, that's it. We're just gonna hopefully get some announcements this week. Oh, there was one announcement that I think DAZN made a mistake on last night's broadcast, they showed they had John Ryder and Canelo as one of their fights for May 6th.
Okay.
So I don't know if they meant to have that on there, but it was on there. They haven't made an official announcement on that, but no one cares about that fight anyways. They shouldn't really be doing that, but whatever.
Yeah. Let me give a shout out to Easy Band's official, man. I didn't even see him in the chat. I kept seeing people say Easy
Oh, he
Bands,
been in
but
the
I never
chat.
actually, yeah, I didn't actually see any. I didn't actually see him. So what's going on, Easy Bands? Easy Bands always hits me up in the comment section. He's a funny dude, man. All right, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Love to everybody that's in the chat, man. You guys will see us next week. Actually, you won't see Jay. Jay, you want to tell people what you're going to be doing next week? Why you're not going to be on the show?
I'll be part of doing something for the XFL next week.
Jay doing his thing with the XFL, man. So Jay doing big things out here, bro. So more than likely, my bro T Ward will be joining me. He doesn't know it yet because I haven't told him, but I'm pretty sure he'll come on the show and rock out with me.
He'll be
all right, man. Appreciate what y'all guys, man, and we'll catch up with you guys soon, man. Peace.
Peace.